Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same.
Hi, I'm your dad, but I died and I'm a robot now.
Hi, I'm Peter Parker.
Hey, Peter Parker. You got something for me?
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face.
Don't freeze.
I never freeze.
Guys like you give Metropolis a bad name.
Oh, mother lurking.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the DC vs. Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Uz, aka Uzi Man Diaz, and once again joining me, representing the red corner of Marvel, is my boy Ed.
What's good, guys? What's been happening? I've been sleeping for a few weeks. Everyone seems to be so quiet. Have I missed something?
Have you been in the Big Brother house?
Yeah, I decided to have some me time. Get myself together, get my life together, and all the streets are quiet. What's happening?
I think maybe you need to turn on the news.
Never watch the news. Never watch the news. Surely nothing that important could be. It's horrible. What is happening on?
Well, that's the thing, man. But as we will say later from some of our listeners, they actually look at us for positivity, and so we need we are here for you guys to try and keep the try and keep your spirits high, try and keep you on the straight and narrow when it comes to like the mental health and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's what we're here for, man. So there is a few things though. I mean, basically, like obviously we are a podcast that talks about movie news and comic book movie news, and obviously that has been decimated by the coronavirus, man. So literally every single thing just dropping like flies.
Everything we're looking forward to, everything we're talking about, saying I can't wait for this, can't wait for that, and we're gonna have to wait a lot longer. Probably maybe a year. Not even exaggerating. It could be a year for some of these projects that we're gonna finally get to watch.
Exactly. And the thing is, guys, is like I believe in like in fate and destiny, right? And I believe that, God would not let the world end with Bloodshot being the last film that people have watched, right? So we will get through this. We will survive, and the film industry will come back, because we cannot let that be the last one, man.
Last blockbuster.
Oh, mate, that would be horrendous if that was it. But yeah, man. So, do you think Vin Diesel is actually sitting at home being like, you know what, this film could have made like $2 billion if?
Of course, he's delusional. He is. He is one of those guys that swears that he probably thinks he made an amazing movie, and the only reason why it hasn't blown up is because of the coronavirus. Like, he is delusional. Serious.
He is delusional, yeah, exactly. He lives in a funny ass world, man. So yeah, I mean, that is the thing. But we can't let that get us down, man. So yeah, there's obviously, guys, there is a lot of stuff that is going on there at the moment, and we would say to you as our listeners, like stay safe, try and keep yourself healthy and stuff like that. But also at the same time, man, when you're sitting and chilling at home, there's a Voltron network to listen to, man. Literally, like, we got a back catalogue for you guys to get through and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Marvel podcast, talking at the movies, it's all there, guys. All there for you to binge.
Exactly.
Forget Netflix. Who needs Netflix?
Exactly, and they're throttling it anyway. We're not going to throttle our bandwidth, so you can listen to us. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude. Dare I even ask, what have you been up to in the world of comic books, man?
Been stocking up, making sure my cupboards are full. Not crazy. I'm not one of those psychos you see on the news with like flatbed trolleys full of like hundreds of toilet papers and all of that. I've just got enough just for me to survive. Got my toilet paper, got all my essentials, and got my pot noodle. My packs and packs and packs of dried noodles. We need is add water.
Yeah.
That's all I need. I can survive on that, you know? I grew up minimal living, tins of tuna, and basically add water ramen. Student life.
That is the student life, man. That is the student life. I remember once, like, actually when we were in halls, right? There was a problem with the water. There was some kind of leak or something like that, and we didn't have water for like 2 days.
Ooh.
And we're so lazy. We're just like, do we go out and get a takeaway, or do we just prepare munch these super noodles just like dry basically? Yeah, right. So it's like munching it like a biscuit, man, which was horrendous. Yeah. Oh. So but that those times hopefully are gone, man. But it's kind of funny because people are talking about like, you got to socially isolate and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, most of the people that I kind of know, that's kind of what they do anyway, is sit at home and watch Netflix.
It's like the best way to spend a weekend. What's the problem?
Exactly. They're like, oh yeah, don't go out here, don't go out there. It's like, dude, I don't go out anyway. I go to the garden. That's about it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that is the thing, man. So yeah,
I was going to say, it's crazy though, because there's like a rise of domestic violence. Divorces are going to skyrocket once this is over. Some people don't really like being stuck home with their other half.
That is true, man. That is true. Some people are good. They literally go to work for a break.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Working saved their relationship, and now that's gone.
Exactly, man. I mean, this is the thing. Like, I've seen like, people saying things like this, like, oh yeah, he's on one side of the house and I'm on the other side, and it's just like, wow, man, seriously, it's like this is crazy. My wife's fretting because the kids have still strictly got school, and they've kind of like got to do homeschool now for like 2 weeks. So that's the hard stuff, man. And especially like keeping a 5-year-old occupied is kind of crazy.
They do like the online stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. All the stuff is like online, basically, right? So. She's not that great at computers anyway, and I'm still at the moment at work, although probably only be 2-3 more days now. Everything's going to shut down, and yeah, it's basically going to be like, they're just going to have to be doing that, and that's about it, man. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's so crazy, like when you think about it, like you think about so many different kinds of like films and programs and all this kind of stuff, and just the way that like you think, oh yeah, how would society just descend in like a week or whatever, yeah? And it's like, I could imagine like literally if there was no supplies, the society would just be annihilated in a week.
Yeah,
literally,
we're like a month or two away from Mad Max living, like just getting out there in like cars that are just wrapped in barbed wire and spikes and just doing whatever we can to survive. That's like this whole thing is basically showing us in the West, us that have gotten soft and lazy.
Yeah.
With online ordering and there's everything at our fingertips. This shows us what it's like to live in a third world country where we can't, our travel is limited. We can't go where we want to go. We can't eat what we want to eat. Like, this is third world living. This shows us we gotta appreciate our crap when it all comes back eventually.
Exactly. We've got to proper appreciate it. And it's like, it also just shows like how crap we would actually be if shit did actually hit the fan. Like, nobody grows anything, right? So it's not as if you can go to your garden and get like some potatoes out or whatever.
Who would have thought that crazy guy who you'd see who was the hoarder who had the bunker in the back of the garden, the end of the world prepper, would be the smartest guy in the room right now.
Exactly. Have you ever seen that program, Doomsday Preppers? There's a program.
Yeah.
It's just like these people. You think, oh, they're like mentally ill, man, because they're like making these like bunkers with like loads of stuff. Like like this one dude, he had a hut basically in Alaska, and it literally looks like a hut, right? But then it has these stairs that goes down into this massive complex that he's created down the underneath it, and he owns like all of this land basically, and it's just filled with like supplies and everything. That dude must be laughing his head off, man.
That's the dream, though. I'm not gonna lie. I always fantasized if I ever got rich, like really rich, I would legit build myself a bat cave underneath my house.
Yeah. So it looks like oh, it's just a normal house, but actually underneath is a flipping underground cavern of craziness, man. But being around bats is probably not the best thing right now. So so yeah, man. In terms of in terms of comic book stuff, with me, hasn't been much either. Apart from obviously, I did see Bloodshot, which we will be talking about in a bit. And I have been kind of trying to organize some of my collection and stuff. After you said the bottom floor of your place flooded and destroyed destroyed a lot of stuff, I was just like, man, I've got to reorganize these things and stuff like that. So that's all I've literally been doing, and just kind of looking forward to this thing's coming out, and with a heavy heart, a couple of days ago, man, I was like, I'm gonna have to start canceling pre-orders, and I cancelled the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. I just had to
had to be done.
I just had to cancel it because you don't know when your money's coming in. But man, let's talk about the stuff now that is just gone. I mean, Black Widow, right, which was in May, right?
Yeah, they waited to the last minute to cancel that, but I'm happy they did, because well, obviously, who was going to watch it when there's no cinemas open to go to see it?
Exactly, and there's a wider point about that as well, man. These cinemas, they're saying, okay, they may not be reopened till October time, September, October time, right? I mean, how can these cinemas survive that 6 months with
I think beside Odeon and maybe one or two others, most of these smaller ones, they're the art house cinemas, they're gone. They're going to be gone.
There's no way. I mean, especially the ones that are in say West End or these these top places that the rent is crazy and the business rates are crazy.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no freaking way, man. They can do it. I kind of thought that they were going to close when I went to see Bloodshot, which is the day before they decided to close all the Cineworlds, right? Because it was rammed, right?
Wow.
There were so many people in there, and there were people of all ages, old people, just people that you would never expect to go and see this film, but it was freaking rammed.
So
and I was thinking,
cinema Hail Mary was Bloodshot. God.
Was Bloodshot, yeah, exactly, man. So that's the thing. So Vin Diesel cannot say, oh yeah, my film would have made this much money, because actually everyone went to see it because it's the last freaking film out anyway. So actually it would have been much less in reality if they'd kind of let it run its course, man. But
it's crazy with Black Widow, because they were really ramping up the advertising, the TV spots were going, the trailers all over the place, posters all over the place, and damn, on the bad.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, because they're obviously in this situation where it's kind of okay, well, Black Widow is kind of to wrap up the story of the previous phases, because obviously she's joined, she's allied to that kind of phase. And also they want to give her a good send off and stuff like that. And then the Eternals will kind of be the new stuff starting, but that's all postponed now. So that obviously means that pretty much most of their stuff is going to have to be, put back, I would guess.
Yeah, Shang-Chi, they shut down that production. But the thing with Black Widow is that because it was a story told it was a prequel basically for that character.
Yeah.
Then you could kind of drop that whenever. So it doesn't really affect the whole MCU as a whole. So that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. So basically, obviously it's kind of a different, different thing. It's kind of allied with, I guess, the MCU, pre-Endgame, right?
It's a palate cleanser for whatever comes next.
Yeah, and then obviously the stuff that is coming afterwards there as well, man. But even so, I'm kind of thinking afterwards as well, it's really going to depend how well countries are kind of gonna stop this, this problem that's going on right now. Because if we do get to a stage where it's like Italy, right, where it's literally 6,000 people, they've got 8,000 deaths now, right? So if you get into these kind of levels where this many people are dying, it's are people at that point going to be you know what, I want to go and sit in the cinema around loads of people? you know,
the
afterwards.
psychological damage off of this, yeah, because people could even once it's gone, people could still be too scared for a while.
Yeah,
To gather in
I mean,
those
if
big groups.
if you think about it, like, you know, obviously it's a very different scenario, but kind of like Dark Knight Rises when there was that guy who came in and shot people up. And that affected cinemas all over the US because people were like, this shit is going to happen again, right? And it did affect generally, like, obviously it made more than The Dark Knight, but it did affect generally how many people went to go and watch that film. And I think the same thing potentially is going to happen to this. I think afterwards, people are going to be quite wary of being like, okay, do I want to go to a place that is like super busy? You know, also at the same time, like, how long can these cinemas hang on the way that they are, right? When, you know, when they come back, it's going to be like, well, okay, are they going to keep the same prices? They're going to have to make money back at some point.
Cheap. Yeah, it's got to be like, they got to entice people to come back, so they got to be real cheap.
Yeah, they're going to have to make it cheaper because, you know, they're going to have to do that. Or it could be that it goes completely the other way, where people are like, I've had nothing for 6 months, so we're going to go to the cinema now. Like, you know what I mean? Because people got short memories, you know?
I definitely think that's how the teenagers are going to react to it. They're just going to be like, yeah, let's all go.
Yeah, and go and cane those things, man. But yeah, Shang-Chi is gone. That's obviously they stopped filming that. There's
the Batman.
The Batman, obviously they stopped filming that. That was in the UK. There is what's it called? The Suicide Squad, the final photography. He's wrapped it up, but basically, like, they've stopped doing the post production and stuff. So none of that is going on there at the moment. And the big one, which is the question in the air for me right now, is that Patty Jenkins still thinking that Wonder Woman's coming out in June, right? Which she was asked like, oh yeah, you know, because people are saying like, oh, Wonder Woman should go to streaming. Now, there's no freaking way that's going to flipping streaming, right? But at the same time, how the hell can that film come out in June? It's impossible, man. No, you know.
Unless Warner Brothers take the decision out of our hands and just decide, hey, we've got HBO Max coming, we need to, or is it already out, or is it still? Is it out?
I don't know if it's out. Yeah, I mean, we definitely can't get it.
Yeah, we ain't got it. Okay, well, whatever. But they really do need to push it in order to compete with, you know, Disney Plus, which has already done well in its launch, and with Netflix and Amazon, blah blah blah. So maybe Wonder Woman could be that big thing that draws people in. Maybe they're looking at it from that perspective.
And say it basically is coming out on this day, on the launch day only, or something.
Exactly.
Like, so, you know, you can go and watch it on the launch day, and that's it.
Exclusively on HBO Max.
Yeah, or like, say, like, for every new sign up for HBO Max, you get to watch Wonder Woman at the same time, man. So, yeah, I mean, are you one of these people who's like, you like the cinema experience, or is it?
I do. Like, I like my streaming, but nah, there is something different when you're watching something on that big screen. I don't know, certain magic. I'm definitely more of a cinema guy, if I can.
I think the thing that's going to happen is you're going to end up getting a lot more of the cinemas are going to become a lot more like budget, basically. So they're going to be like, you know, cheap tickets to entice people in, and, you know, the markups on the food like they have and stuff there anyway.
Yeah.
But I think also there's going to be like, it's going to become a much more kind of specialized thing, like the theater. So you're going to have like IMAX and super screens and all this kind of stuff, and that is almost going to be like the norm of the cinema, and it's going to be the same kind of costing as you would get in the theater, so like 30 quid a ticket kind of thing. That's what I think it's going to end up being like, because you know, the way it is there at the moment, like all these cinemas, they have, you know, all these places, all this staff, all this kind of stuff. It just basically shows like, if something like this happens, you got to pay for all of those places, all the staff, all the rents, all the business rates.
See, the problem...
And a lot of...
No, keep going.
And I think a lot of these businesses are going to be like, do we really want to do that? Or are we looking at some of the places that are the ones that make like a lot of money or whatever? And then at that point, then you know, what, you know, that, you know, if we're basically get all the cinemas that make loads of money, like, so, you know, the branches or whatever, and keep those and then cut down the other ones. I think that might be something they end up doing.
Yeah, I think with cinemas, we're only really going to get to see the big budget blockbuster movies in those cinemas. But we've already started to see a change, man, because Universal announced like a week or so ago that they're going to start doing like day and date releases for some of their films, as well as being in the big screen and on demand.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of other studios could follow suit. So it makes it less special, or only something that's for big spectacle movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the way to do it, you know, because, you know, like, I see certain films in the cinema, and sometimes you see certain ones, and it's like a little kind of, you know, jab kind of film that you wouldn't usually see. You know, you see it on like a, you know, special viewing or something like that. But then at the same time, it's like, I think if they brought those kind of quality films to a streaming service, it would be just as good. It would get more of an audience and stuff like that than it would be there otherwise. Because not many people get to see those kind of films in the cinema. Like, how many people went to see stuff like, you know, Hell or High Water, for example, you know, things like that.
Yeah, that's true, man.
So,
that's definitely true. And you know what all of this does as well? It takes a lot of the power away from cinemas. Because before, studios wanted to do this for a while, the whole day and date release, big screen and little screen. But they couldn't because, you know, the cinemas banded together and were like, no, we're not going to show your films if this is what you're doing, if you're going to put it out. But because of all this shit now, that power's gone, because they really just need anything once they open back up again. So this puts a lot more power into the studio's hands, so they may not be able to complain about all this.
The studios are going to run roughshod over them, man, because they're going to be like, look, you know, you need us more than, you know, more than we need you.
Isn't it? People have had 6 months or however long this keeps going on for, 6 months of watching everything at home on the couch. They're used to this now. It's fine. Yeah,
exactly. And they're going to be so used to it, because after a while, what's going to happen is like, you know, all of these companies anyway, like I heard this weird conspiracy today that basically, like, it's funny, like, everybody's suddenly online and the bandwidth is being throttled when at the same time that these mobile companies want to release their 5G networks everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah. That is actually
so, you know, like, you know, the governments are like, at the moment, like, our government is like, oh, you know, we don't know whether we want to do the 5G yet and who's going to do it and stuff like that. They're going to accelerate that because they're going to be like, well, we need it now. So they're going to accelerate whoever gets that contract and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one, because if everybody's streaming it, then, you know, it's gonna be really, really slowed down, man. So, yeah, it's an interesting time, man. It's an interesting time, but you know, especially comic book movies, because this is one thing that I was thinking as well. Like, the amount of money that it takes to make these films, like, it's crazy, right? It's a ridiculous amount of money. It ain't no bloody Invisible Man 8 million stuff. It is like, you know, you times that by 10 at the least, right, to make these films. And it's like, our studio is going to be more like, you know, the longer this goes on, the more they're going to be like, okay, are we going to want to put this much money in order to, you know, to see whether we can recoup our investment?
Gotta be more frugal, man. Like, when I watch some of those behind the scenes things on some of the Marvel movies, the stuff that I think I may have mentioned this before, but the stuff which is done by special effects that you don't even realize, but it's like, why did they do that? Like that shot in Endgame when you see the whole Avengers are walking and they're there in their time suits, and you don't realize that all of those suits are all done by CG, and it's like, but why? Why didn't they just make the suits? Wouldn't that be cheaper?
I didn't even know that was CG.
Yeah, those white suits that they're wearing, they're all done by CG, and they're not wearing any of that. And it's just like, it's such a waste on some degree. It has to be. It's like crazy.
I think it's one of those things, once you get to that stage where it's like, you know, a company like, you know, whoever's doing it, like Weta or ILM, has become so good at doing the stuff there for you continuously, then after a while, they can say to you, yeah, we'll do this bit, and the company will be like, okay, fine, do it for us, because you've done such a good job there before on the other thing. So they're kind of like, you know, to kind of like move more and more towards that kind of situation. One of the things I would say about Marvel, which I've never heard about Marvel, but I have heard about almost every other company, is stunt people getting injured and dying, right? Because in Marvel you never hear of it, but in like, you know, Deadpool, you know, you had somebody dying. In the recent, they had a recent one, which is in Batwoman. There's the stunt woman has basically been paralyzed from the neck down, right? Because they were doing a scene where Batwoman's in an elevator and they dropped the elevator, and the stunt person was under the freaking elevator.
What?
And they dropped it on her back, basically, right? Yeah, it's crazy. That's why they want to do stuff all CGI, because it's like, well, these people are not going to die then, you know what I mean? Or get injured or whatever, man.
Did you ever see that thing that Disney have created? Like these little robots that swing, but they move like people.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Weird.
That's crazy, man.
It is crazy, but then you kind of, when you hear about all this stuff, then it kind of makes sense that rather than throw a stuntman 30, 40 feet in the air, then just do a little robot doing it. Just kind of, no injuries, easy to reset.
Yeah, and then in 100 years' time, there's going to be like a robot who comes to a court, and it's going to be like, yeah, they made us. They killed so many of us doing these stunts and stuff like that.
Cyberdyne robots, or what they called? What they called that company that Google run? They're all making those crazy robots. They're gonna turn on us. It's gonna happen, guys.
Oh yes, yeah. No, something dynamic. What are they called? Yes, I know
Dynamics?
what you mean. Yeah, Boston Dynamics. That's it. Yeah. And they're gonna come, and then it's gonna be like the Matrix, man.
Yes. And I, for one, embrace it.
You embrace it. You wanna be like that, basically.
I welcome us cybernetic overlords.
Fair enough. You want to be a pod-born pencil neck, basically. That's what you're saying. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Also, New Mutants has been delayed as well, man. That's
the most cursed movie ever. Like, with the exception of people dying in the process of making it, this movie has been so cursed. It's just ridiculous. They may have, I wouldn't say it with any of the other big movies, but I reckon with this one, just pull it out online, man. Just
let it come out like that. Yeah.
At least it will finally be out. What's it been like that 2-3 years now? It's ridiculous.
Crazy, yeah. I mean, I put a poll up on the Facebook page, and I was like, what movie is more cursed? The New Mutants or The Flash, right? Because The Flash is once again, Flash was meant to go into pre-production in June, and it's like, nah, mate, forget it. It's like, this film is never coming out.
It's in pre-production hell. Like, at least they haven't actually shot anything of it. But New Mutants, it's done. It's just been sitting there on a shelf.
Yeah, exactly. With nowhere to go, man. It's kind of like just release it, let it be watched, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. But I think we're definitely heading into a different world. And I think this is where like the animated stuff kind of like goes into its own, because I mean, I would assume a lot of the animated stuff can be done remotely. You know, like the animation, doing the voices, all of that kind of stuff there, matching everything there together. Does it really need to be done in a big studio or whatever?
The problem is a lot of that animation is done in Asia, in like South Korea and various countries around there, and those have all been hit pretty hard. So no one's that's the problem with this. No one's really escaping it. So even bringing people together in a studio to do all this, I don't know. It's
a hard one, yeah. But they seem to have got themselves under control, because their populations actually listen to their government, unlike ours, man, where it's just like, nah, mate, I'm still doing my own thing. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm even thinking like for this year whether anything's going to come out. Like, just thinking like, okay, obviously there's going to be a couple of animated stuff that comes out. That's fine. That's going straight to streaming, whatever. But then we've got, obviously I was really looking forward to The Boys, season 2. seeing where they went, whether it was going to be like a comic
what's
book
the
or
deal with
whatever.
that? Was that had they finished shooting it and they were just in the post-production of it? Or was
Post.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in post, and it's like it's just like shut down.
Delayed,
So
yeah.
I don't know, but it's just annoying, man, because that was one of the things that I was really anticipating after having read the comic books as well, and that is just it's gonna take forever.
This is weird to hear that though. Like you were saying about post-production being shut down, because I was reading about Avatar and how they've shut down shooting of that, but I think they were still doing the post-production. They were still doing the effects for it. That was still going ahead.
Oh,
So
hell, man.
why?
Who wants to see that Avatar film, man? Seriously. I love James Cameron, man. He's like one of my favorite directors, but flipping heck, dude. Seriously, it's like...
When was the first one? Is it 10 years yet?
I don't know. It's like, sometimes it's like, sometimes somebody has got to, like, put their hand on your back and say, you know what, Granddad, it's time to stop now. It's time to stop. Like, no more Terminator. Don't do Terminator anymore, right? I know you did a really good Terminator 1 and 2, but no more. And Avatar, just forget it, man. Don't bother. Nobody gives a crap. So just leave it alone. He could do something where literally, like, the Avatar could walk off the screen and come and sit next to you, right? Because he's developed some technology and nobody will give a shit anyway. You know what I mean? Like, that's the amount of care that people have for that mission, man. So yeah, I don't know. It could be a situation where it's literally like there's a handful of films that go to the Oscars and, Birds of Prey cleans up. Man.
Holy I didn't even think of that. Oscars, yeah, it's the same sort of mentality that makes me think, because like Japan they're determined not to cancel their Olympics. Like, how that's going to go ahead, I don't know. But if they do hold something, even if it's in an empty arena, there will be athletes, a handful of athletes that will turn up knowing that it's going to be easier for them to get the gold.
Yeah, definitely. Because people won't turn up. A lot of people won't turn up, but other ones will be like, sod it, I'm going, man. So if nobody else turns up, I'm going to win.
Athletes. The worst. Guys are going to be walking around the track instead of running, because, that's all they can do.
Oh, I would love it if that happens, man. Because I remember in the last Olympics, there was a dude that they sent from, it was Tonga or something, to do the 100 meters, right? Yeah, and he was like 18 stone or something, and he managed it in 15 seconds or something. And I was like, dude, I could do it faster than that, man. I don't know why they sent this dude from there, but yeah, that will be absolute comedy to kind of see, man. So, guys, I just wanted to kind of like, let you know about obviously what we're kind of planning to do. Like, we will, unless everything literally like dries up completely, like there's absolutely no information to kind of give you, what we're going to try and do is kind of play it by ear in terms of what comes out, but also what you guys are asking us to do. So I've thrown out a few things there on the Facebook. I think we'll throw a few other kind of ideas out there and stuff like that, and see what you guys kind of want us to cover. So we're going to be pretty much led by you guys as to what we do over the next few weeks until we start getting news again, which is probably going to be a while. But we will be reviewing certain things as and when they come out there as well. Comic book based animations, I guess. There's going to be nothing else coming anyway. You know what I mean? So that is the thing. So dude, like I was saying earlier, I watched Bloodshot last week, and I mean, I watched it, and like, I would say I was pleasantly surprised, but I didn't want to cut my face off with a hacksaw. So it wasn't
like
that
you kind
bad.
of liked it. The message I got from you was like you kind of enjoyed yourself.
No, do you know what happened? I didn't think it was as horrendous as I thought it was going to be. And I think part of that was me and one of my mates who you've met, or basically like, we got this thing, like whenever we see a film that we're really anticipating, we have these like 2 or 3 go-to films that we watched before. One of them, even though I love Jackie Chan, he's one of my favorite actors, he made this film called The Medallion, which is like one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life, like horrifically bad. and we watched that before there's a film that we really anticipate, and we watch that, so it kind of like dumbs your brain down to that level. And anything above that, you're like, wow, this is flipping amazing, right? So yeah, we always do that. That's our kind of ritual kind of thing. And before I watched this, a couple of hours before, I saw The Hunt, right? And The Hunt is one of the dumbest films I've ever seen. Like, it is, it's one of those films where it's like, it's basically almost, like that scary movie takes the piss out of Scream.
Yeah.
This is like the scary movie version of Battle Royale.
Oh, wow.
This is what it's like. And the thing is, it's like, you watch the trailer and it's like nothing like that, right? You kind of think, it looks like it's quite serious. It's actually a piss take. The whole film is a piss take, basically, right? They're kind of like taking a piss out conservatives and liberals and all this kind of stuff. And it's really bad. It's like, it's got every movie cliche that you can think of. And I think, obviously, when you're watching it, it looks like the people who are making it, they made it intentional. But that film was, like, so terrible that when I went into Bloodshot, I was thinking, okay, it's not as terrible as the one that I just watched, like, 2 hours before.
Wow.
But having said that, it's not a good film. It's not something that you actually watch and say, this is actually good and I want to watch this film. It is, there's one, I wouldn't even say a scene. There's one moment that I liked in this whole film, right? Literally, and it probably lasts about 15 seconds, right? That is, like, at the start of this film, guys, apologies because there will be spoilers in this, but you shouldn't watch this anyway. Basically, like, Vin Diesel is a guy who's a soldier, and what happens is that he gets very badly injured, basically killed pretty much, and then he becomes part of this program where what they do is they put these nanites inside him, which are these very tiny robots, which heal him up pretty much straight away whenever he has an injury, and it means it's almost impervious to any kind of injury. He's not completely, he can die, right? Because the nanites need to kind of recharge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he can get shot, whatever, and most of the time he survives. It's not a problem, right? So what happens is that there was this part kind of where he's going through at the start, and he's a soldier, and he's going in this place in Mombasa, and I was watching, I was like, oh, here we go again. Same old shit. We got an American soldier coming through. Oh, look, there's an Arab guy with a flipping, a hostage. Yeah, and oh, look, Vin Diesel saves him and the hostage,
single-handedly. But mind you, whenever a soldier when does in real life, when do soldiers go off on their own and clear a whole building single-handedly?
Never. Like, absolutely never, right? However, we kind of find out later on that basically what this is kind of like Source Code, right? Where they're basically making him live through these artificial kind of memory kind of things in order to get him to want to kill enemies of the company that makes the nanites,
basically right? They replace the final boss in that predetermined thing that's playing out in his head. They always change the final boss to be someone who they want to get him to go out and kill. Yeah,
and this is where the 15 seconds of where I actually liked this comes in the entire film that I actually didn't really like very much. Was what happens is they keep creating these different scenarios. So there was about 1 minute actually, because I'll just add another bit there to it. But basically what happens is that they keep adding these different kind of scenarios and things that are going on, and every scenario that you kind of see kind of like ticks off a little bit in your brain, because you're thinking, I've seen this somewhere before. This is somewhere that is in some film somewhere or something like that, right? And basically what happens is the tech guy, who is Indian, surprise, surprise, basically he goes and they got to make a new scenario for Vin Diesel, right? To like kill the final guy who's the enemy of the Nanite Corporation, and he Guy Pearce, who's like the head of this corporation, this Indian guy says to him, "Oh look, I can create another scenario. Don't worry, I can sort this out, whatever." And Guy Pearce says to him, "You've used every single movie cliche so far, right? So I don't trust what you're going to make, right?" And that is the 15 seconds that I like, because I thought, wait a second, they're actually on something smart here, that this guy is creating cliches of every single movie to try and create scenarios for Vin Diesel to follow. However, they never followed that on. It was all just like, okay, it was just a passing, fleeting little thing, right? Because there's another bit that I liked, which I actually laughed at, which is Toby Kebbell when he's dancing to this, like,
jeez, yeah.
That's the only other thing that I like, because I thought this is funny, man. Everything else was just like stupid. But basically, he's going, and Vin Diesel is like trapped in a slaughterhouse, very similar to Reservoir Dogs, and also not Casino Royale. What's the one after Casino Royale?
Quantum of Solace was
Quantum of Solace.
Yeah.
When he's in this meat factory and he's tied up to a chair. James Bond is tied up to a chair, and there's a guy coming up to him, and he's like basically like they're playing music, and very similar to that. But Toby Kebbell, man, is like basically hamming up this psychotic, murderous guy so much, right? And it's really cool to watch. You know, when you say last time, like, I feel sorry for him, because it's like, you know, I laughed at that, but everything else, I was like, this is so bad. Like, the guy who's like the fake ass Dr. Octopus guy, right? It's just like, I was watching that and I was thinking, okay, I've seen this shit before. The fake ass Doc Ock. It's like, oh, you know, they never really went anywhere with anything. Oh, look, Isa Gonzalez, actually, she's reluctantly doing this. How many times have they done this in films where they've got, like, the woman is part of this thing, but she's reluctantly doing it. She doesn't want to do it. Then she changes sides. Yeah. I've seen that shit 10 million times. Yeah. You know what I mean?
What was her ability again? I can't remember.
She can breathe anything.
Does she actually do anything interesting in the film? Because I've completely forgotten half of this now.
She can basically, like, breathe anything. So she can breathe in any atmosphere. So she can breathe underwater. She can breathe through any toxin, whatever. So at one point, she releases all these toxins, so everybody gets knocked out, but she can still breathe, right? So that's the big thing. Like, she can breathe for anything.
That was a big moment.
That was her thing, basically, right? And you know, the worst thing about this is, like, even though, like, they had that little kind of moment where I thought, okay, they've kind of like self-realized a little bit in this that they're a movie cliche, and it's like, it's very dumb and it's very stupid, but the movie realizes it's dumb, right? With that little line that came from Guy Pearce. Then at some point, it's kind of like the rest of the film tells you that they don't realize that they're dumb and whatever, because right at the end, it's like, I'm thinking, is this Dom and Letty at the flipping end when it's like bloody Vin Diesel and Isa Gonzalez, and he's in his flipping tank top standing there, and bloody she's there in her tank top and stuff like that, and combat trousers, and I'm thinking, this is like Dom and Letty, man, just bloody standing around. It's like, this is literally Fast and the Furious.
Exactly, Dominic Toretto, he basically turns into, literally, it happens right at the very beginning when he gets out from the mission and he's meeting his wife for the first time. Just rips off the jacket for no reason, and suddenly he's in Dominic Toretto mode.
How many films have you seen from back in the day as well, where they have like an English woman in it, and she's like playing just a random role, and it's like it's so freaking cliched, it's unbelievable. But I would absolutely piss myself laughing if in Fast and Furious 9 Dom gets injected with nanites or some shit, man. I would be like, this is the most because he's got that chance now to do it. Like, oh, he's superhuman as it is anyway. You know what I mean? So So yeah, that could be the possibility, man. So yeah, I would if you discount that one little bit with Toby Kebbell and that 15 seconds of conversation between Guy Pearce and the Indian dude, for me, I'd say as an absolute maximum, this would get 2. Actually, no, I'd say 1.5. I'd say 1.5 because, with a 2 at least you can kind of say there's some redeeming factors in this. But I kind of was like, if I didn't watch The Hunt before, I probably would have been like, this is worse than what it is. But because I watched it, I was like, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But it was still pretty freaking bad, man. So, every single sci-fi, film from the 90s and stuff like that, very similar kind of things in it.
Garbage. I think the only thing I really enjoyed was that elevator fight near the end. With the 2 dudes. I found that kind of fun.
Yeah. That was all right. But then the other dude who was just aggro for no reason, he pissed me off, man. They're just like, why? He was basically they had to make him like he was the bad guy or whatever, and it's like, it's just stupid, man. And then the other guy who was like, he was like a techie guy who they'd basically kidnapped and put him in the basement kind of thing. He had his own bodyguards and shit afterwards, and it was like, what? I don't get what's going on here, man. It's like the whole film just made no real sense, unless I guess you were taking drugs or something at the time. You know what I mean? So,
I don't even think that could save it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, man. Guys, if you're thinking of watching this, don't go and download Upgrade and watch that instead, because that is 10 trillion times better. And I bet you the budget was probably a tenth of what this was.
Definitely.
So, and just all round better. So yeah, do you reckon Vin Diesel saw that and probably thought I could do something better?
If it was just an original thing, but because it is like, this is pretty much what the character is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the dumbest thing in this, just before we move on to the listeners' questions, the dumbest thing in this, when they crashed a lorry full of flour, which turned him into the white and bloodshot with the red eyes.
I forgot about that. They thought they were being real clever. You know, they pitched that like, "Yo, this is gonna make him look exactly like the actual comic book character. It's gonna be amazing."
Oh God! I was just like, and the guys who were like there were like, "Oh, it's flour," and I was like, "Oh no, why?" It's just like, oh, it was bad. It was bad.
I feel sorry for whoever runs Valiant Comics, man, because they're probably thinking, okay, this will save us. Comic book sales are going down. This will help give us a boost. We'll start the whole VCU universe.
Yeah.
Nope.
And the thing is, when all I was doing while looking through that was thinking, Guy Pearce could have been Bloodshot. I was thinking Guy Pearce, right? Actually, with a bit of makeup and stuff, probably could have looked more like Bloodshot as well.
And
it would have been, yeah, I guess so. But just a bit of roids and a few months of training and having your own chef and all that. They'll probably sort that out. You know what I mean? So let's move on to the listeners' questions, man. We've had a few that go in. Let me get to this email because the other ones I can remember, I really need to read this kind of word for word, man. So sometimes we get messages in, and a lot of them are FDC and stuff like that, right? And I don't even bother reading them because it's just
biased.
Or F the Snyder Cut, which has got nothing to do with me. I don't own the Snyder Cut.
I'm sorry, guys, if you're Marvel fans and you're writing in, I apologize. It was just unprofessional behavior.
So I don't read those, but sometimes we actually get something really like that you look at and it's like, wow, it flipping humbles you, man. So guy called Ibrahim, he's one of our long time listeners and fans, he says there as well. He says, I just wanted to say thank you for hosting your podcast. It's people like you and fan communities that reminded me to have a peace of mind and means of escape from having painful burdens and intense family issues issues/problems/troubles such as committing suicide. The world of DC and Marvel superheroes has become my pop culture passion and a purpose in valuing life and moral love. These characters have somehow reminded me that I can always stay better and remain strong regardless of what others think of me between my family, their friends, or my community. I'm currently writing a fan fiction about the Avengers and the Justice League crossing paths. It is still in the developing stages as I am doing an online writing course to become a good writer. Well done. Well, that's good.
That's good.
You know, and as well as finishing my academic studies in college. Wish me luck. We will definitely wish you luck, brother, with that.
Definitely.
From Ibrahim, man, and that's a lovely email, man.
Ibrahim, stay strong. Thank you for listening. That's a lot.
Yeah, thanks a lot for listening, man. I gotta say, for me, it's kind of the same thing. Like the main thing is like some people they'll say to me like, why do you still read comics and stuff? Like that's for kids. I'm like, well, you know what? There's a lot of stuff that people can say that's for adults and stuff like that, which I don't really enjoy, and it gives me a means of escape, and that's just what I like. You know what I mean? So I think for Ibrahim as well, he's kind of like got that, and he can kind of escape into that world of what's going on, and he enjoys that there as well, man. So anything we're doing to kind of and this all we are is like two mates chatting about comic book stuff. You know what I mean? We're not we're not like expert journalists in this field or comic book writers or anything like that. But to say like somebody's getting that reaction from us just chatting, that's flipping amazing, man.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. So
it means a lot to know there's people out there that actually give a damn that we're just doing this little podcast.
Exactly.
Well, more so you, because you've been doing DC versus Marvel a lot longer. So you should take all this.
No. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man.
Take a bow.
Take a bow. Yeah. Take a bow. So yeah, dude. Keep listening, man, and just stay strong. And once you've written that, send it to us, man. We'll definitely read it and have a look at it there as well. So, another message that we have from another one of our long-term listeners, AC. AC says, I'm gonna try and convince you guys that that the guy from Punisher should be the new Wolverine. What do you think about that?
So he has the intensity.
Johnny Bernthal, right?
Yeah. John Bernthal. Yeah, he's got the intensity for Wolverine. He could work on the physique, but the thing is, he's not that far off in age from Hugh. So the problem is, how long is he going to play that character for?
Exactly. And the thing is, like, I'd rather he plays Punisher.
I know.
I'd rather
Punisher so well.
It was just like apart from probably the last 3 or 4 episodes of the second season, it was just epic, man. And I'd rather he just continued with that because he nailed it, man. It was like an amazing performance. So, have you got any ideas for Wolverine?
Ideas for who could play it?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's that $1 million question. I don't really know because I think we've said it before in this podcast that Hardy would have been the best for it, but he's stuck doing Venom. So
yeah.
Man, I need to think about that. It's difficult. So hard.
It depends what kind of Wolverine they go for as well. If they're gonna go for a Hugh Jackman style or what.
It is because it's hard for me to imagine a small Wolverine, a small barrel-chested, hairy Wolverine.
Yeah, like literally like a flipping animal.
Yeah, and how many actors are there like that out there? They're all like this young pretty boys now.
Yeah, exactly. And who's gonna? I guess they could have it as somebody and then make them look smaller, like they did in the Hobbit kind of thing. I guess.
That's a bit much. That's a lot of effort. Yeah.
It'll be a bit of an effort, but it'll be freaking hilarious, man. It'll be absolutely hilarious. if they got some massive dude and just made him look small from the like the Hobbit.
Army Hammer, all 6'6" of him, and shrink him down to 5'10". Oh, did you see the cow that they released of how that looked?
On Justice League Mortal. I mean, it's like I like the little frown lines and stuff on it. It reminds me of the Alex Ross style Batman cowl. It's interesting, man, because I don't know, like people seem to want to live in this past when it comes to DC. Like, you know, like people are just like,
what would have been, what could have been. There was a documentary that someone was making that was going to be like the Superman movie that never made. That documentary. Do you ever watch that one?
Yeah. I think the guy made it before he died. What's his name? He's on Collider.
Snap. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. But someone was going to do that for the Justice League movie as well, a documentary about that process. And
oh, okay. Okay, I guess the problem is with the Justice League stuff is that for Justice League Mortal, you mean?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, how much information is actually out there unless you actually know some of the people, I guess. You know,
have to get in contact with them actors, man.
Yeah, that is the thing. And how much are they going to release about stuff? I guess, what was the name? Was it Adrian Panicki or something like that? She's the Wonder Woman. She's not really doing anything, so she might want to.
Yeah, she'll be definitely up for it.
Talk about. Yeah, she'll be definitely up for chatting about it and stuff. Yeah, that I'd watch that. That'll be super interesting, man.
Would
super
be
interesting
fascinating.
Kind of watch and stuff.
There's screen tests and everything, but yeah.
So we had a message from a guy called Damien, and actually, I will say we don't usually give surnames on this, but I actually said Damian Wayne, right? So I don't know if that's his real name or it's actually a joke, right? So basically, his thing was that basically like when we talk about comic book series and stuff like that, we always talk about past stuff. We always talk about say like the Killing Joke or like Nightfall or well I talk about those things on DC, but you know like those kind of things. And he was asking about if there are any comic book series that people might not have heard of from kind of now that that people you think would like it, and if you could give an outline of the story without spoilers. So do you have anything like from around now that you would recommend? Or we can even say to the past there as well that you'd recommend to people.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I haven't been that deep into the comic stuff.
Yeah.
Rather
do you want to think about it?
Well, rather than a single story, it would kind of be like, what was the question, to adapt into like a live action thing, or just to highlight?
Yeah. No, it's just kind of just like you could put it in that way, I guess, but. He was asked specifically about newer comic book series. So basically things that are like, so we know that things like Killing Joke and all that kind of stuff was the stuff that we always talk about, but newer stuff that people might not have heard of.
God, there ain't no new stuff, man. Damn. Okay, you go.
I'll go, and then do you want to think about it for next week?
I'll give a think.
Yeah. So for me, I would say Damian Wayne. You need to check out Red Hood and the Outlaws, the Rebirth, right? Now, Red Hood and the Outlaws Rebirth version is absolutely amazing. Until, like Ed's, I'm a bit like Ed's, where I kind of don't like where they change the art kind of thing. They change the art a bit, and it really becomes a bit messy a bit later on. But the gist of this basically is that you have Red Hood, and we were talking about before with the Birds of Prey that Black Mask comes in different kind of iterations and stuff. But one of them is that he tries to steal a crate which has Bizarro in it, and tries to use Bizarro to kind of destroy the world or whatever. Red Hood and the Outlaws links directly to this. So basically, it's got Red Hood in it. To start off with, he's doing some work specifically for Black Mask, but then he encounters Artemis, who's doing work on behalf of the Amazons, and also they encounter Bizarro, who Black Mask is trying to like keep. after they've defeated Black Mask, they all kind of join together as Red Hood and the Outlaws. And in effect, Red Hood is playing the Batman role, but with guns and a bit more kind of, he doesn't think as much as Batman, and he's a very interesting character. Artemis kind of like playing the Wonder Woman role, and Bizarro playing the Superman role, right?
Ooh.
And it's epic. It's like, if you want a completely different take on the Trinity for Justice League, you need to read that, because it's a lot of it is quite funny. It's a very different take on the Trinity without actually changing the Trinity, which a lot of people don't kind of like. So yeah, I would say, Damien, you need to check that mission out, basically. So that would be the thing.
See, the last big comic books that really kind of I got excited about, there haven't been some in a while. And the only ones that really stand out, I don't want to say because they're DC ones. So it's like, I feel a little ashamed, but yeah, it goes back a few years. I don't know if it really counts, but I think we mentioned it last step. The what's it? The Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Batman. And also the alternative universe Batman, where it was Thomas Wayne that became Batman. These things, I want to see them live action. These are versions of these characters I want to see on the big screen. We never will.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I'd go outside of either DC or Marvel and go for classic Top Cow Image Comics. I want to see Cyberforce. I want to see Witchblade and Darkness. Like, those are wicked characters that really deserve to be on the big screen, or just be known a lot more than they are.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, man. They need to be properly out there, man. Like, but unfortunately, I get this. You're talking about Image and Valiant, obviously different, aren't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I guess that's what they should do, because is it getting a little bit saturated with the other stuff? I don't know, but yeah.
It definitely would put a lot more color into the whole comic book movie universe that's going on right now.
Yeah,
Give
yeah,
me
definitely.
Witchblade. I want to see these the battle of light and dark. It's just,
What's Witchblade about?
Witchblade. Let's get into this. Okay, so you have a cop, Sarah Pizarro, I believe her name was. And while investigating these criminals, one in particular, Kenneth Irons, is kind of like their version of Lex Luthor, who collects all these artifacts from around the world, but there's this one artifact that he possesses, but he doesn't have. He possesses it, he's got it, but he can't use it. And it's called a Witchblade. It's this gauntlet. He doesn't truly know what it is. But during like this auction to try and find someone who can pull it on, because it kills people whenever they do, he doesn't realize that only women. He has to choose people, kind of like Mjolnir from Thor, or even the Green Lantern ring, because it has its own consciousness. And Sarah Pizarro is a cop, while getting gunned down while trying to save her partner. While she's laying there, this glove, this gauntlet reaches out for her and it accepts her as its host. And then you kind of have this wicked. She's awesome. It's kind of like a female. I'm gonna say Spawnish, but people are gonna scream and say it's nothing like Spawn. But I mean in the terms that it's this living, organic thing that's covers her entire body in a kind of sexy. Originally, in the newer versions they kind of toned it down, because we're in this kind of political correct world where you can't really sexualize women that way. Yeah. But what was cool about it is because when they got deeper into the mythology of it, you see that it was connected to this other character called the Darkness, which is like this cosmic entity that occupied this former hitman. Is that your phone that's making a beeping sound? Is that mine?
It's not mine.
Must be mine.
I can't hear anything.
Must be mine. But it turned out the Witchblade was an offspring of the Darkness and the Angelus, which was like the counterpart to the Darkness, which is like this good and evil thing that always kind of through eternity that predates the earth and predates gods and everything. And Witchblade, during the time of truce, Witchblade was created when these two entities made love, and it's deep comic story and kind of gets into some of it.
It sounds very like story based, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like really deep. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, and that's why I love it, because there's so much they could do with it. Multiple movies, different characters. You can get in Mandolin. It was like this assassin or a warrior that worked for like the Catholic Church. She was kind of sent to kind of take down the Witchblade in the darkness, but then found out that the Catholic Church was corrupt, so she ended up going her own way. But she carried like the Spear of Destiny as a weapon. She was descended from Jesus and Mary Magdalene. It's like this craziness, but I loved it. Always got me excited. Someone adapt this to live action, or at least make some sort of comic book series, cartoon series or something, please.
Oh, they'll get around to it eventually, won't they? Once they've properly discovered it, I guess. You know what I mean? Somebody will pitch it somewhere and it'll come out. I guess part of it is like they're obviously thinking, okay, if it's slightly sexualized, then
well, no, it got there. There was a period in the late 90s, early 2000s when Witchblade was on fire, and there was a TV show based on that. It didn't last long because the actress had a drinking problem, went into rehab.
Oh dear.
So that kind of shut that down. And there was a manga version of it and an anime. So it had its moment, but it just didn't maintain. And even all the other spin-off Top Cow comics, Cyberforce. To picture what Cyberforce is, imagine that crew that Bloodshot had in the movie. All of those other cybernetically enhanced soldiers. Imagine that as a team. And what that could have been, how cool that could have been, seeing them go and do missions. That was what kind of like what Cyberforce was like.
One thing was, when I was watching that, I was thinking Ed would love to have half of these cybernetic enhancements. He would be like, yes. Exactly. It would be like, because these guys, they kind of woke up and it was kind of like a nightmare for them. Whereas you'd be like, yes, I've achieved it. Exactly, man. Yeah. So that would be pretty damn cool. So we've got one last, which is basically a comment on the Facebook page. So on the Facebook page, I put up a link about the new Warriors from Marvel, right? And basically, like, there's quite a lot of comments which is just like incredulous, like, this has got to be fake, blah blah, whatever, right? And then obviously me just writing, no, this is 100% real. So there's one from a guy called Jose who says, oh, I want to see what the Marvel guy is going to say to defend it.
This is the SJW version of New Warriors that they're trying to make.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put that in for Ed, because there's it's just you
gotta explain it, man. You got all these gender neutral characters that
so
it's just.
So the New Warriors is kind of like it used to be a comic book for Marvel, and now what they've done is that they've got another version of New Warriors, but this version of New Warriors is going to be mentored by the old New Warriors that was in Marvel. So they're kind of like a handing over of the torch kind of thing. And what they've done is like, when I first saw this, I thought this is just a joke, and they're kind of like taking the piss basically of these characters. Because, but actually, it's like, because, sometimes when they do it, it's kind of like a comedy, a parody kind of thing. But with this, it's like, actually, when I watched the interview with the creator, and he was like deadly serious about this, and I was like, wow, you actually think this is a good idea?
One of them is called Safe Space.
Yeah. So there's two of them. There's two of them basically who have, they're twins, but they're gender neutral twins, who, basically one of them is called Safe Space, and the other one is called Snowflake, right? And they're the gender neutral twins. Now let me just see, because they're, forget about, whatever people think about that, but the funny thing that I was looking at was their power, right? So, what was it? Okay, so Snowflake and Safe Space are twins, right? Okay, so they see the names that get thrown around the internet, but they take these words as like a badge of honor. So Safe Space, right? You got to create a safe space, right? So he can create force fields, okay? But he can only trigger these force fields when he's protecting somebody else.
Fuck.
That's why it's called Safe Space, right? Okay, so the other one, Snowflake, okay, has the power to generate individual crystallized snowflake-shaped shurikens. or is it shuriken?
Sure,
You know,
yeah.
the ninja stars. Yeah. So, and that is the thing. Yeah. So yeah. So that's interesting. So those are those two characters, which is pretty horrendous.
Yeah.
But worse than that is the guy called Screen Time, because somebody must have, I don't know what idiot wrote this bio, right? But it's like, okay, so so basically this guy's called Screen Time, okay, and what happens is that his brain became connected to the internet, so he's kind of like a Wikipedia kind of thing. He knows information. He's like basically like Google.
Yeah.
He can get any information within seconds, right, of anything, right? Now you think, okay, if this guy got connected to the internet, how did that happen? Maybe he fell into a server or something, got electrocuted, or something happened, or an AI, he was like connected into an experimental AI and something took over. No. Check this out, yeah? His grandfather created an experimental internet gas.
What? Gas?
Yeah, gas.
Internet gas.
Yeah.
What?
What are these people drinking when they made these flipping things? Absolutely mental,
Hey,
man.
man.
So there's another one called B negative, right? So B negative, he's like a goth, and he basically looks like, you know, what was that film? Oh my god, it's going to be The Lost Boys.
Yeah.
So he looks like one of the Lost Boys, right? And basically what happened was that when he was a baby, he got a blood transfusion, right? From Michael Morbius.
Wow.
He got a blood transfusion from Michael Morbius, right? And it gave him similar kind of powers to him. And he like drinks blood and stuff like that. And yeah, he's
Look, man, Marvel, we've had a good run of it. Be riding high. So it's only fair, you know, we've reached that point that, you know, there's going to be a little stumble now and again. It can't all be aces. It can't all be home runs.
yeah.
Dear God. Who's
So
going
we
to
saved the best till last, which is Trailblazer, right? So Trailblazer is a girl who is quite a big girl, and they've made her on purpose this way because they wanted to make her look like the average girl, I guess. But okay, this is not from a an 80s TV show in the UK, because this is the kind of shit that we used to have. But she has a magic backpack, right?
Oh,
which is a pocket dimension, right? So basically, you can pull out anything from it. You know, like Mary Poppins.
Dora the
right?
Explorer.
Yeah. So basically, what it is in your backpack, it's like got everything in there, and you might say, for example, I don't know, need a gun or something, so you can pull it out from there. And you might also need to feed 100 people, so you can get 50
How
McDonald's
is
out.
that a mutant ability?
Ah,
If it's something which is separate from you.
I don't
Oh,
know.
my God.
It's
Well, it's got
I
people
don't know.
talking. At the very least, it's got people talking. So that first issue will sell pretty well. I'll guarantee that. Just to see the car
Okay.
crash of it all.
And that is the defense that the Marvel guy has given Jose for the New Warriors, man. And I must admit, it's actually a decent defense. It's going to sell a lot. But yeah, just please don't make this into a film.
Oh,
That's
no.
all
no.
I'm saying.
I'm a little worried because I do seem to be reaching for this sort of thing. They are looking to try and be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like youngsters, like, oh god, don't do it. Don't do it. Even in a cartoon form, don't do it. Ever. So, I mean, usually this is the time in the show when we say who's won, but I don't think anybody's won at all, man.
Oh, it's like everyone started the race and then everyone just gave up halfway or were forced to stop halfway.
I don't think we could say anyone's won. So I guess we'll postpone that there for a while until we actually, do get a proper battle, I guess. So yeah. So, anyways, guys, If you want to contact us, you can contact us on DCVS Marvel Pod at gmail.com. Also go to the website DCVS Marvelpodcast.com, and also go to the most active, which is the Facebook page, which is DCVS Marvel Podcast. But also at the same time, we do now have an Instagram as well, so do check that out if you prefer. I know a lot of people prefer Insta to Facebook, so go on that if you want to, if you want to get the news and stuff, because Ed is putting up stuff on there all the time, right?
Yeah.
So, Ed, where else can they find you, man?
You can check me out on Talking at the Movies podcast for all things movie and TV. But much like with this podcast, we're kind of reaching a point where we can see the end of the tunnel as far as content concerned, because there's nothing to talk about. Everything's ended.
Has Picard ended yet? Has
One more episode left. One more episode left.
Okay, and is it any good, or is it worth talking about?
It's fine. It's fine. It's disappointing. It's a disappointment for me.
Yeah.
But Mo seems to still love it, and he swears that it's like the greatest thing ever, but it's fine. Nothing really happens.
Yeah, average. Very average then, I guess. But yeah, I mean, definitely guys, check that out. Keep also, like, if you want us to cover something, like Damien was saying, then of course, like, just send stuff in, because right now, obviously, there is not a lot of movie news that is coming through, so we're more than happy to cover like comic book stuff.
What are we gonna do? We're gonna have like specific comic books we're gonna check out, or we're gonna review classic or older superhero movies or TV shows or something.
I think that's what we should do. We should kind of go, because even though we both love comic books, and we both got comic book collections and stuff like that, we are in essence a comic book movie show, right? Yes. And that is the reason why most people kind of tune in. So what I think we should do, and I'll put this out on the social media as well to see what you guys think, is revisiting the classics, right? So, we can go through some of the old stuff, things that we liked about it, things that we didn't like. We can talk. We could say, for example, have one show just about MCU Phase 1 and just say, look, this is what we thought was cool about it, this is the cool moments, etc.
I say we go back to the beginning, man. I say we go back to the Dawn of Superman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going back to the Dawn of Superman. I'm going to need to rewatch it. I need to rewatch it
exactly.
then so I can then do it. Yeah, man, I'll put it out there and I'll see what you guys think. And yeah, we can dedicate shows to those missions there as well. And see what you guys say, man. Of course, if there is news, we will bring it to you. But it looks like we're in for a drought for a while. So yeah, we don't want to stop the show or anything like that, because we are here for you guys, and we like chatting shit about comic book movies.
There you go. There you go.
So we will be here, but yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a stumbling block, because we're looking to do the whole Voltron network on the YouTube channel, and that's kind of slow because of all of this Corona nonsense. It kind of makes organizing, doing that, and doing videos for that a little difficult unless we're doing things independently.
Yeah,
but you said you were looking to do a few things, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna do basically, because one of the guy who watched previously, like when I had the YouTube channel 5 years ago, was like, oh, you still doing the the DC graphic novel stuff? And I used to get quite a fair few people watching. I mean, not loads, like about 1,000 or so, but I've got just completed the Dark Knight collection from Eagle Moss, so I could start going through some of those graphic novels there, and then putting up little videos for you guys and stuff like that to give us content for the channel. But yeah, like we're saying,
throw up the audio from the podcast up on there just to give content. Yeah, we'll figure something out.
We'll get stuff out there for you, man. So anyway, guys, until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you again next time.
See ya.